Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Cities Skylines Let's Play. As we look out over our city here, we are up to episode 3 now, and all the pretty commercial buildings. So what we're going to do, we've sort of got the basic layout of our city going, so if anyone's sort of new to the series, this is the way we've got our zoning and stuff set out at the moment. This is a temporary industrial area over here. And given that we've got a lot of industrial demand now, what our first order of business is going to be. We purchased our first tile up to the north here. So what we're actually going to do is set up a big forestry industry along this point over here. So that is going to be our first job, I think. The problem we've got is that we're going to need fire and police coverage in this area, otherwise it will be riddled with problems. So we're going to need basically expand our roads and stuff along here, and then sort of link it all up a little bit further. So the first thing we're going to do is just bring our sort of road out along the water like this. I think probably along to there is about enough. So then we'll be able to set up our forestry sort of along, it'll probably run like along here, follow the trees in. And then we can sort of set some gravel roads and stuff up along here and make it a little bit more authentic. But if we look at our service coverage, so like for example the fire. Yeah, so definitely I think we've put sort of our services like our police and fire just about here somewhere. That'll definitely sort of cover all this area along here, and then also all of our forestry area along there, which will be good. So that is what we're going to do. So our plan of attack basically is that I think we're going to set up some residential just along here like that, and that means we're going to need some more water pipes along there. So what we're going to do is we don't want our like any heavy trucks from our forestry coming all the way through our city, so that's not what we're going to do. Sort of our traffic is starting to build up in our main entrance over here anyway, so we wanted to reduce that as much as possible. So what we're going to do is basically build a big highway straight along here and then build a bridge over, and that's going to be transport all of our trucks and things like that from our forestry. So I think we're going to build a 4-lane road. I don't think it's probably really worth building a 6-lane at the moment. We can always upgrade it if we really need to. Given that we don't have a huge amount of money, I mean, we've got a fair bit, but this is going to be quite an expensive endeavour. So we can get into some loans if we need to. We've actually got $80,000 in potential loans, and we've got a big cash flow, so we can actually afford it. So, but for now, we are going to put down right along here, right along the edge, as close to it as we can get, is a 4-lane road, probably along to about there. So that alone cost us $8.5 grand, which is quite a bit of money, but I think it's worth doing at the moment. Okay, so you're going to just make a junction across there like that. It's not the most efficient way, but it's what we're going to run with for now. So now we need to build a bridge. I'm not sure whether it's going to be worth building a 4-lane bridge across. I think that's going to cost us an absolute fortune. So I suppose it's not too bad really. It's only $8,000 just for that area there. So we may as well sort of keep the 4-lane up, or the 4-lane sort of infrastructure going. So what we may actually do, where is the best place going to be across to build it? So we've come down here. I think probably so there's sort of like a little rise or a little cliff over here, so we sort of build it across to here like this. So we sort of build it across like this. Means we can sort of run some forestry and stuff all along here. But yeah, so I think this is what we're going to do. So I'm just going to double check this before we put it down. So I think like where are we? Like that. There we go. That is quite nice. It's a nice little bridge there. Keep our traffic nice and sorted. So then we're just going to run our. Nope, don't want to do that. So we're going to actually make it a little bit better and run our road along like that. So there we go. So we've actually got our highway set up for our forestry. It's not the prettiest thing you'll ever see, but it works. And that won't stop us actually building up another residential and commercial area over here, which is our other long-term plan. So that's what we're going to do. So now we're going to start setting up our forestry. And to do that, we are going to have everything as 2-lane gravel roads. So I mean, obviously it's not a the best traffic conducting road, but I think you've really got to do it. Setting up a forestry area, you're not going to have sort of big highways running through it, are you? A lot of it's going to be a lot of like forestry and things like that. So it's all sort of going to be freeform. Just sort of make it try and make it sort of not look really constructed or anything like that. So what we're going to do is sort of run this around here like this, and run it around on the point, and like that. And we're going to run it through up to here. This, so we're going to have it set up like that. We're going to need to have quite a few connections, I guess, into this area over here. But I'm just thinking, actually, what we may do, may sort of use this as like a service road or a connection road or something like that, and then we can build up sort of like some. May actually set up like a little residential area. I'm just thinking over here, and make it sort of like a like the workers' quarters. So I sort of may actually use this as sort of build this around like that. So may sort of extend this road up this way. I think we're actually going to sort of extend it to there like that. And then we can also extend it further along here if we really need to. But for now, I think that's what we're going to do. And the rest of it, we're going to have it set up as just up as gravel road. So I think we're going to sort of have it set up like this. We're going to have a look at our forestry. So it's not hugely dense up here. It's a lot more dense sort of in here, and definitely more dense over here. But like we mentioned, and we could, like later on, we're going to have I think we're definitely going to have a dam here, but we could sort of build a bridge along here, expand our forestry there. But I think for now we're sort of just going to have it here. It's going to be like quite low density forestry, but that sort of works for me. So we're going to do that. So we're going to run some roads in like this, so there. Run some more lines, some more roads up like that, and like this. I think we're definitely going to sort of want to follow most of the thing up like that. So it's going to be a pretty large forestry area by the time we have it set up, but that is quite good. I think it sort of works. So we're going to do like that. Sort of even run like a little short into there like that. So I mean, looks a little bit uniform, doesn't it? But I think it'll be good once it's set up. It'll sort of make everything quite nice. What we're going to do, we're going to have set up a road. Actually, not there. We're going to set up this one as our first connection. So we're going to connect that up like that. So we're going to have one there, which means probably going to want to have another one. I think the best place to I hadn't connected this right up. I think the best place to have it is probably over here, actually. And then I think we'll probably expand out our forestry sort of into this area, and then we'll sort of have, that'll be like another entry point over there. So what I think we're actually going to do is run a road down like that. So there we go. That's going to be our new forestry area over there. And actually what we're going to do, we'll set up some paths and things like that to make it look a little bit more authentic. We'll put down some trees, which probably won't really do anything for the forestry, like actual industry, but it's just to make it look a little bit more authentic. And we'll run some paths and stuff through the forest, like logging tracks and things like that. So we'll sort of get that a little bit later on. I think we'll may get to some decoration later in this episode and start sort of decorating out this area, and then we'll sort of maybe tackle our forestry and stuff once it's built up a little bit more. But for now, we're going to start putting down some forestry. And before we do that, we're going to set up a new district. So it's going to be a district. We're going to set up all of this at the moment, like this, and even our sort of our little residential stuff that we're going to set up a little bit later. We're going to do that there. You just bring this down like that and clean it up just a little bit. So that is pretty good. So this is going to be our forestry area. So we're going to have this as, what are we going to have this as? We're going to have it as Point Piper. There we go. So this is going to be our forestry area, and we're going to come into our specializations and make this a forestry specialization. So there we go. So, what does forestry industry have? It has slightly increased electricity consumption, slightly increased tax income, and it requires the natural resource forestry, which we definitely have in this area. So, that's fine. So, that's all good. So, we're definitely going to need to set up some electricity lines, but I think we'll probably just run it from here and go straight over. It's probably the easiest way rather than running it all the way along. We can do that a little bit later. So we're going to start setting up our industrial areas. So we'll do that for now. So we're going to set up this area first, and through here like this, and then run it all the way up through here. And I think we'll leave this a little bit area of blank at the moment, and may sort of just expand up all the way up there. So that's going to be our first lot of forestry, and then we'll expand basically inland from there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to need to expand out our electricity lines. So I think what we're going to do is run some lines over here, and then run it to there. And hopefully it'll sort of build from here and extend all the way up, but we can look at that a bit later. Obviously going to need water pipes. So I think we're actually going to run it from here, which will be probably the easiest way, the most cost efficient way of doing it. So we run it to there to cover all that, and then we're going to run go to there and then run it up the coast, follow the road up basically, it's like that. And then may as well just expand out this while we're here. So we're actually going to go to there, and then there, and there, and there, and there. So there we go. So that's all of our infrastructure set up for this area, which would be good. So, don't think we really need to do anything for the moment. We've basically used all of our money, so we're actually going to start the game running again and see how our forestry industry starts to develop. So it's good this actually has started from the electricity area here, but it's just missing a... Anyway, so the connection's gone up now, which is fantastic. Just have a quick drink. So, this is all about forestry, which is good. So, getting some factories and lumber areas set up for the moment, which is nice. But getting some little forestry areas as well. So that is quite good. So that should take care of most of our industrial demand for quite a while. And what I'm actually thinking we may do is, now that this is dropping quite a bit, I'm actually going to start de-zoning some of our heavy industry over here. So I'm going to de-zone all of this area, and that'll get rid of it by itself. Well, that would disappear by itself. So that's going to sort of mean that we're going to have to take a lot more slack up of our forestry. So I'd prefer to basically get rid of all of our heavy industry and have it compensated by building up all of this forestry all the way up along there. So see, it's starting to come back up again, but that'll sort itself out quite quickly. So we may actually be really bold and get rid of all this. Get rid of it all in one fell swoop. So it means our forestry is going to need to expand quite quickly, but that is totally fine. So, don't really have any trucks running in yet, but we do have one there. That's just a car, isn't it? So it's going to pellet fuels. So I think that's pretty good. So it's going to keep all of the heavy trucks and stuff away from our main city, which is exactly what we want. So I can get some houses and stuff built up along here, which is good. So I'm quite happy with how the city is actually turning out. So I think it's quite, it's a lot of work to make it a lot more aesthetically pleasing, but looking pretty good at the moment. And the start of the infrastructure and the bare bones of it all are there, which is nice. It's a lot of industrial demand, but this is all set up with our infrastructure and stuff. So this is going to start expanding all the way up here quite soon, which is good. So better to have this type of industry rather than the polluting heavy industry that we start with. Definitely going to leave our landfill over here. So that's probably a good place to have it. So that's quite good. No residential demand at the moment, but that'll change once our industrial and commercial and stuff gets built up. So what we're going to do now, we really need to sort out some new commercial zones. So we're getting quite a bit of demand. So I'm just thinking, I'm not really quite sure where we should put it actually. I don't really want to put any more commercial sort of inland any further. So like I mentioned, I think we're definitely going to sort of have a shopping precinct or a shopping hub or something. We'll set up sort of a separate little area for that once we expand out to this way. But for now, I don't really want to put any more commercial in here. I'd rather have it all sort of residential and keep the commercial stuff away. So I'm almost tempted to actually start building up some commercial over here in preparation for building our expansion residential area over here. I think that's probably what I'm going to do actually, to be honest. I think we're going to run a road from here along, and that's going to be the start of our residential. So that'll be like a new little shopping area. So come back to our 2-lane road. I think we're just going to run a road basically straight along, not from there. Although that's going to be quite a bit of a pain to have sort of two intersections really quite close to each other. That's going to cause a lot of problems. So what can we do there? Should we put it here instead? Put the connection here. Actually, I think that's what we're going to do. We can always change this later on, guys. So once we build up our other residential, we'll probably actually get rid of this connection and just hook it up here. And then that'll probably be better, and probably maybe have a connection into the residential area over here, as well as a bridge over here, so like all the trucks and cars aren't coming all the way through our city to get to the new area. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to set up a road, may sort of set it up like this, and then we're going to run a road straight up the highway, actually make it out a little bit further, and we're going to put some trees and stuff behind it. So we run it up like there and all the way up to there. So it's going to be our new commercial zone. So we're actually going to fill out all of this all the way up there. So there we go, like that, and get rid of that little bit there. So that's pretty good. So this should all start filling out quite quickly. We'll need some electricity, but we're going to build it. Put some power lines there, and that should sort itself out. Actually, what we may do is just get rid of this one there, and just build it along to there, so that's much better. And put down some little commercial there, but not there. Okay, cool. So, definitely going to need some water pipes. We actually run it from our sewage line there, and all the way up to there like that. So that should sort out that problem. Power requirements here, but I suppose we're going to have to run temporary lines up there, aren't we? So what we're going to do is run it from there and just hook it up there. Bit of a pain, they should have started building down here, but you know, can't control that. So there we go. So that should fix our commercial demand. Definitely starting to fix our industrial. So it's actually built all the way up the coast here, which is really, really cool. So you can see a lot of our trucks and stuff coming through, which is nice. So there we go, just all looks pretty cool. I actually really like the forestry area overnight. It looks really cool, so looks really quite nice. I like it, good work. We have our bridge over here, which will be good. So this should support huge amounts of traffic, so I don't think we're probably ever really going to need to upgrade it, which is nice. So there we go for that one. So why is that a different colour actually? I just realised these are all like yellow lights, aren't they? They've got like the normal lights. I wonder if that's like a highway. I suppose these ones are a little bit different colour, aren't they? Interesting. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look into that, guys. See if it's like a I'm not sure. Anyway, interesting. So what are we up to? So we've actually got rid of most of our industrial over here, but there's a lot more demand. So we're actually going to expand out our industrial zoning. So we bring it all the way up here. And I think we're going to sort of start filling in from the top like this. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to need a lot of demand, so we're going to fill up all of this area like that. We have all the pipes and the water, electricity and stuff is set up. So this should build up quite quickly. There's huge amounts of demand, so because we got rid of the industrial over here. And what we're actually going to do now is get rid of this last of our heavy industry here. So, like that, and because we've done that, we're going to need to run some power lines to, just run it through here for the moment, to our garbage area like that. So I think that's quite good. So it looks a little bit messy for the moment, but we can sort that out later on. No big dramas. Traffic's looking pretty good, so you can definitely actually notice that of a night time, sorry, of the night time, traffic amounts actually reduce quite dramatically. So we're getting quite a bit of red here through before, but because it's night, obviously, there's far less traffic. So it's really quite cool that they've actually gone to the trouble to, I guess, change the way that everybody behaves during the day and night. So it wasn't just a superficial upgrade. We had an abandoned commercial building there, not really quite sure. There's a bit of commercial demand there. I think it was actually workers. That's what it would be. It would be not enough educated workers. So we're going to need to put down a high school at some point. We don't have quite enough money. So I don't think it's really worth getting a loan out yet. We'll just, we're getting quite a bit of income, so 1800 cash flow income. So we'll just sort of wait and let that build up by itself. So some of our commercial areas build up here, which is good. Get it away from our city. So it's the way, if you just join, or if you just, this is the way our zoning is set up. So quite nice, I think. Quite good. Pretty happy with how it's all going, so that's good. I think we're getting rid of all these roads here. I don't think we're really going to need them for quite a while. We may sort of build things like our incinerators, may sort of have this as our garbage area over here, because it is, I guess, relatively close to our city, although our garbage area, if I just get out of that, our garbage thing, how can we see the radius of our landfill? Well, yeah, because we can see it when we put it down, but it doesn't seem to be showing up at the moment, which is interesting, so that's quite... Alright, I'll have a look at that a bit later. Right, so how are we going for everything? So power, got about 5 megawatts, which is enough. Going to need to bump up our water budget quite quickly. So I'm going to put that back up to 90. And power's running at 100 anyway. So we'll just leave that there. We can build another station or wind turbine later. We've got a fair bit of money coming in, which is good. Bump up the speed a little bit to 2 speed. Just get some money coming in. We'll put down a high school, so we've got enough educated workers for our second level commercial buildings. So I'm starting to get a couple of those, but not really many. So once we get some more educated people, they will definitely start upgrading. Getting a fair few. I didn't think of this. So this area probably doesn't have access to our police service, does it? So this is the reason you don't want to sort of build areas out on their own. So what are we going to do about this? Just thinking. Definitely need, I think we have to take out some loans. So we definitely need some infrastructure and services. So what we're going to do is going to expand this road. Expand it like that, and then this. A little bit hard to see overnight, but that's okay. And up around like that. So we're going to do this, and then what we're going to do, I think we're going to set down some services, a couple of services just here somewhere. So if we come into the fire area, put one down here, all the way along here. So it doesn't actually show coverage, but I think that it's close enough that it actually will be able to get fire trucks and stuff out there. So I think that's what probably the best option is. Just thinking though. I guess we can move these buildings, can't we? So if we have a look at... Jump into one of our buildings here. Can we move it? We can. We can actually relocate, so that's not a problem. So what we're going to do... we're going to put it here for now. So just put it probably around there, just so we pick up the rest of the residential. We can put that one there, and then we're going to put a... We don't have police stations. We're going to take out a loan. We're going to take out the 60,000 one, so it's actually less... like a longer repayment period, so it's actually less weekly cost. So we're going to take out the 60 there. So we've now got the 60,000. We can always repay that back later. And we're also going to put down a police station right next to it like that. So we've got our fire and our police set up there. Get some power lines, just connect up like that. So these are sort of a temporary fix. Got water, which is good. So we should have fire trucks, which should come out from... I'm hoping from our fire station here. Getting our police out, which is good. A lot of police. Where's all the crime? What's going on? So There's some crime over here, some crime over here. That's okay. Everything's going pretty well. So it looks like they were going to looks like they were going out to the fire over here. So it looks like we need some more power, which we do. So we're going to build another turbine. So we could actually increase our budget for our electricity, but I think it's probably just better to sort of build actual capacity rather than running at overload, which is more expensive. So we can actually sort of afford it at the moment, so we're going to do that. So we've all got power through there. So this fire has gone out, we're going to destroy that. I'm not actually sure that the fire trucks are actually going to make it out to this area, so we have to keep an eye out. If we get a lot of fires through here, it's definitely something we sort of have to keep our eye on and fix up quite quickly. So it looks like the problems, crime problems have been sorted over here. So hopefully, now that we've sort of got a second station, there's enough extra capacity that I can actually make it over here. Because I don't really want to expand and build a bridge over here quite yet. We can do that later on. What are we going to do now? So we need a bunch more residential. So I'm thinking what we may do is build another residential sort of area in here. That should take up a lot of the slack there. Industrial is looking pretty good, so we've actually expanded out to everywhere that we've sort of zoned. So we can put down some more. So we put down, I think we're just going to expand all of this area at the moment. So we'll just set up all of that. So that's a whole bunch of industrial forestry that we can get set up there. How's the traffic looking? So it is quite heavily, obviously, through this is like the main road, but that's probably to be expected. It's not too bad, it's definitely not gridlock, it is quite heavy, but it looks like it can cope with it at the moment. And so we're in the day, and our main city traffic is looking pretty good. Heavy intersection through here, but that's pretty fine. So it's actually looking pretty good for now. No major problems, definitely not building up anywhere. This is going to be definitely a big sort of gridlock that we're going to have to deal with later. So because cars, it's not on like a highway, but cars actually have to sort of stop and slow down. So we're definitely going to want to build like a proper actual sort of junction and infrastructure there later, but we can handle that at a later stage. So what we're going to do, we're going to build a new housing area in here. And I think what we're going to do is build a road out from here. And we're going to build it around like this, follow it around to there, and then we're going to set up, not there, so about here, and here, and like that, and we're going to bring this road across, across like that, and then we're going to hook that up in there, and also no, I think that's fine. We may sort of bring a road around here later if we need to, but I don't think we're going to have enough room at the moment now, so we have to demolish that building, which we don't really want to do at the moment, but we'll fix that up later. Okay, so we'll just get rid of that building. But yeah, so this is going to be our new sort of residential area. So we're going to put down a bunch of new residential buildings here. Just thinking, we actually may get rid of this. May actually put like a park and stuff there a little bit later, but we'll zone all of this as residential up to there and all through here like this. So that's going to be good there. So it should be quite a nice little area. We can build like a little park in here, which will be good. I think we're going to need to put a park sort of in this area, and then we can zone this as residential, which we might actually do now. So we can build that up there. Put a park in here and build up some nice little decorations and stuff there. So we're going to get that running. We'll put down some water pipes. So we're going to run it through like that, and then I think just one through there. And that should be more than fine, so that's good. So not a lot of residential extra demand that we can pick up. And we actually have a train line running here. So I'm thinking that if traffic eventually gets bad enough, we can actually build sort of over here somewhere in some of the empty space, because I think we're going to have sort of forestry industry covering all of this area. So we can sort of build like a cargo or a cargo terminal over here, and build some roads so that trucks can actually come in and basically ship most of their stuff out via rail, which will reduce the demand on this road enormously. So this road actually is, relatively busy. So that's good. So we actually reached the next milestone, which is a boom town, which is fantastic. So we can purchase a new area, which is good. We don't really need it at the moment, but that's good to have that option there if we need it. Now have public transport, which is quite cool. So we may actually look at setting that up a little bit later. And one of the new things in After Dark is a taxi service, which is quite cool. So rather than sort of having mass transit at set times, people can actually sort of call taxis whenever they need them and get them around the city and things like that. So that is going to be quite a cool thing to play with. We'll definitely have a look at that and set that up later. Or industry specialization, we're not going to really use that, so we don't really need that. A couple of new policies, so recreational drug use and recycling. And now we've got access to a whole bunch of new roads. We've actually got access to the proper highways and highway ramps and things like that. So that is quite good. We're definitely going to be using highway ramps and things quite soon. And a few different intersections as well, so Cloverleaf and the three-way intersection. So we'll get a few of those set up a little bit later. Actually have a large roundabout as well, so we're going to have a look at that, see if that's more lanes. And we might actually set that up and replace our existing roundabout if we have any problems. Also got a bus depot, a cemetery, an advanced wind turbine, and a taxi depot. So definitely put up a cemetery quite soon. The two public transport will probably be a little bit further down the track. Don't really need it at the moment, but definitely as our city grows, we'll definitely want to take off as many cars off the road as we possibly can. Advanced wind turbines are pretty cool, so we can actually put those on the water. So it's another good reason that we can actually, we've actually expanded out here. So I think that if we look at wind, we're actually going to put advanced wind turbines out here, which is going to be really, really cool. So I think from what we're going to do, we're not going to put down any more proper land-based wind turbines here. Instead, we're actually going to start building advanced wind turbines over here, and we'll hook them up to our grid through our forestry industry, and that'll give us heaps and heaps of power there. So how much do they cost? They cost 12,000. So so actually they double the cost, but they actually produce more than double the energy. So if we should be able to get 20 megawatts. Yeah, so we should actually get 20 megawatts all along here, and the noise and stuff doesn't matter as well. And it's not going to impact if we want to put a dam sort of basically running across the edge of the mouth of the river here. So that's not going to matter either. So that is really, really good. Definitely glad we've expanded out that way. So we're actually up to 32.5 minutes, guys. So thinking I may put a cut in here quite soon, or actually now. And I think we've made a lot of progress in this episode. So we've got a lot of... Actually got a fire there, so... we've made a lot of progress. So we've definitely replaced all of our old heavy industry, so all of that's gone, which is nice. We can rehabilitate that area. Got our forestry industry set up here, which is really good. So this is definitely going to be our long-term forestry, and then we can even expand out over here as well later on. Perhaps even over here as well, which would be quite cool. Sort of have an island-based forestry. You could even set up sort of like cargo ships and things like that. So our residential is looking pretty good. We've expanded our commercial out over here, and everything is going along pretty well. Up to 2,400 population, which is quite nice in 3 episodes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a cut in here, guys, and I hope you've all had a wonderful day, and I'll see you all soon.